Yo guys, James here, and today I'm gonna make a TBC tier list. This was a request from a viewer of my last video, and I'm gonna do a 3v3 tier list. Now, this was the list I found, but at some point I'm gonna try to find the combination of every single class, because I think some comps will be good that are not here, and I'm gonna talk about them in the end. But yeah, let's start. But before we start, I just want to say something. Blizzard, it's in real trouble right now. I was doing some random twos yesterday, and at 2-7, the queues were quite insane in 2v2. They were 3 minutes. Yeah, I don't remember even when the ladder was kind of split between battle groups back in Rat, back in Kata, back in MOP at some point, back in TBC. I don't remember having such long queues at higher ratings. But but yeah, let's hope they do something, because the live game is slowly dying, and I think Shadowlands, it's an expansion that everyone was hoping it was good, but yeah, it's not, especially in terms of PvP. It's not. And before I go, I just wanted to say this because I think a lot of players think that PvP is a mini game, and this is why PvP is so important, because whenever you don't have true content, PvP is the the content that players usually go for, and if it's bad, players just quit the game. If you think about it, PvP in terms of repeatable as a repeatable content, it's better than Mythic Plus because it's not as scripted. It is scripted though, but it's not as scripted as a Mythic Plus, so players will do like 10 games, and the 10 games can be different if PvP is good. But yeah, I just wanted to give this little note before I start talking about the best 3v3 comps. And the first one is Roguelok Druid. Um, it's, in my opinion, one of the best comps in both TBC and Wrath of the Lich King, and to some extent I think Kata. At some point it was really good, and it's S tier. This comp is extremely good because you grab three of the best specs in the game: um, Sub Rogue, Affliction Warlock, and Resto Druid. And by the way, every single rogue comp here, I'm gonna take it as they don't have Warglaves, because with Warglaves, the comps get just incredibly better, and this comp with Warglaves is just probably impossible to beat. Because Warglaves are that strong. Um, but it's an extremely good comp. It has everything. It has durability, even though Rogue it's kind of squishy. Still, the Druid brings a lot of durability. The Warlock won't go and the Rogue it's very scary, because every second blind you can kill someone. The trinkets are 2 minute cooldowns. The blind it's one and a half, I think, or 150. So you have a go without the healer having a trinket every second blind, right? It's extremely good comp. It's just insanely good. The Affliction Warlock can just, or not Affliction, this is actually SLSL. The SLSL Warlock can just tunnel the damage into one, or can spread the pressure. You can fear. You can do a lot of stuff to peel off the rogue or the druid if needed. Now, The second comp here is Roguelok Druid, and Roguelok Druid is decent if both Warlock and Mage have Skull of Gul'dan. At least it was like that back in the day, but it suffers from one problem. They don't have a magic dispel. The Warlock brings Devour Magic, obviously, but in long games it's not enough. This comp it's incredibly strong against some comps, but it suffers against others. So I would say it's around a B tier. So mid pack, it's a really good comp in season 4 when you have a little bit of more haste, but it suffers from mana issues on the Frost Mage side. I think a lot of people will try this comp. I think it will be extremely good against some some stuff like melee cleaves. Like let's say you face a rogue warrior, this comp should be incredibly good. But yeah, it suffers from mana. Now this comp I played it, but I played it in Wrath of the Lich King, and let me have a little bit of water. One sec. Sorry. But yeah, Hunterlock Druid is one of my personal favorite comps. I played it in Rat actually, and this comp it's all about mana draining the healer or one of the DPSers. It's incredibly strong against some mage comps because of Viper Sting and drain mana. Here it says BM, but it's better as MM. So I will take it as MM, SL, SL. And the rest of this comp it's incredibly good against double healer because you just completely shut down. You can completely shut down both healers if you play it correctly. You don't really need to shut down both healers. You just need to shut down the one that has magic dispel. But this comp is incredibly good, but it suffers from something, which is it doesn't have the burst of the sub rogue with the affliction. It has the damage. It's incredibly good against mages as well, but I would say it's not as strong as Roguelok Druid. But it's incredibly good, and I would say that Hunterlock Druids could beat or should beat Roguelok Druid if played correctly. It's just it doesn't do as well against other comps, right? Now WMD, this comp, back in the day you wouldn't see this comp that much. You would see it with the priest. With the priest it was insanely good because it was pretty much warrior and frost mage were the warlock killers, with the insane pressure from the warrior and the insane burst from the mage. They would actually kill warlocks. Now WMD, it's, I would say, really good comp, but it suffers from not having a magic dispel, which means that your warrior needs to be insanely good, or all of the three actually need to be insanely good, because the warrior will sit a lot of CC, so it's kind of hard to keep the pressure up. I'm checking if there's with the disc priest, and there is not. Okay. This comp, it's better with the Disc Priest, I would say, and with the Disc Priest, I would rank it at A tier, but without it, I'm gonna rank it as, can I? Okay, as B tier, but better than Roguelok Druid in my opinion, because it just kills warlocks incredibly efficiently. Okay, Rogue Mage Druid. Now this comp became really famous in I think it was MOP and WOD. Before that you wouldn't see that much of this comp. In TBC became famous in private servers. It was really never that much of a comp you would see back in the day. I think it's incredibly good. What the Druid brings, it's a lot more of a mana pool to keep going, but it doesn't bring the magic dispel. So it doesn't bring the defensive and offensive magic dispel. So I would say it's a little bit worse than RMP, and I would rank this, but it has a little bit more CC and control over the game. So I would rank this as A tier, but worse than Untitled Druids. Yeah, I would rank this as A tier. Okay, Roguelok Shaman. Roguelok Shaman was played back in the day, and it's insanely good. The only problem with this comp is the lack of magic dispel and the shaman not being able to keep up with healing if it gets kicked. So, but since you have Bloodlust, you want really fast games. You want to probably kill healers with this comp, depending on what you're facing. But you want to probably kill healers with this comp. But I would say this comp, I would rate this comp around B tier, a little worse than WMD, but a bit better than Magelock Druid. And now here comes my personal favorite. This was one of the comps I got a Gladiator with back in the day. I think it was my second Gladiator. I got it as Shadowplay. This comp is insanely good. People on the private server scene have been saying it's not as good as it is. But I'm gonna tell you guys, the private server people are actually wrong. This comp is insanely good if well played. The only problem with Shadow Play is the Shadow Priest mana and the rest of Shaman weakness, which is if he gets kicked on healing, there's yeah, it gets worse. The weakness of this comp is just mana. Honestly, I would say it's one of the better comps. I'm gonna rate it as S tier because the strength of this comp comes from, and this comp is played as Unstable Deflection Warlock, Shadow Priest, and Restless Shaman, and they have insane synergy. The Shadow Priest brings mana to the Shaman brings mana to the Priest, the Shadow brings extra spell power and extra shadow damage to the Warlock brings a lot of dots. And you just want to run people over. If the Shadow Priest gets to fake the melee DPS that it's on him, for example, if they face a Roguelok Druid and the Shadow Priest fakes the Rogue, the Shadow Play can just kill any comp in the game, and the Shadow Priest brings the magic dispel, which is extremely important. But usually, so usually, if they want to CC the Shaman, for example, you need to kidney shot the Priest. An RMP needs to kidney shot the Priest to CC the Shaman, and even if that happens, you still have the Devour from the Warlock. This comp is overall really good. It suffers from SLSL Warlock teams which just outlast them, or RMPs that just burst through everything. Shadow Priest still doesn't have dispersion in TBC, so this comp is insanely good, but it has a few weaknesses. I would say that it's gonna be better in TBC Classic than it was in TBC in private servers, just because you're gonna have access to better Shadow Priests, and it's gonna be insanely good. A good Shadow Priest will be insanely good in TBC. Now, it's still not better than Roguelok Druid, but in my opinion is an S tier comp when played to the max potential. If not played to the max potential, I would say it's A to B tier comp. It all depends on how good the three players are. Magelock Shaman, this in my opinion is a bit better than the Magelock Druid version. because it has the Shaman, it has the Bloodlust, which means that it brings a little bit more aggressive uh, damage, and I would rate it at B tier, but below still Roguelok Shaman or Warrior Mage Druid, just because the it's incredibly hard to rate this type of comps because it depends on the skill, and it's incredibly hard to rate any TBC comp because of that. It depends on the skill of the players. But if everyone here is the best player, I would say Magelok Shaman should lose or should be weaker than Roguelok Shaman and WMD or any of the other comps. Magelok Priest. I don't know why this tier list has so mage locks. Like, it's a decent comp, but it's not gonna be insanely good. This one is though, Magelok Priest, and it depends here. If you, once again, you have like the best gear available, Skull of Gul'dan, a lot of haste, this comp can be incredibly good. But once again, I'm just gonna rate it here because I see, for example, a Roguelok Shaman just completely destroying the Disc Priest, a Warrior Mage Druid just completely destroying the Warlock and dooming the Priest. Like, I just think overall Mage Lock, it's not as good as people on the private server scene think. But yeah, okay. Wind Fury Cleave. This cleave, it's incredibly strong. I would rate them a little bit higher than RMD, maybe even. Yeah, I'm gonna rate it higher than RMD just because this comp is incredibly strong. The Arms Warriors brings this comp with wings and with a warrior on someone. This comp can one shot in 3 seconds with Wind Fury procs. Has Bloodlust, has wings, has a defensive magic dispel, has an offensive purge, has intervene, has a lot of utility. The only problem with this comp is the red mana, if not being focused, and it's the rest of Shaman being kicked. Because this comp, in my opinion, should even be an S tier, but I'm not sure. But back in the day, it was for sure S tier. But I would say Hunterlock Druids, for example, should be overall better than this comp. But this comp played with the right players, it's gonna be insanely good. And yeah, people don't realize how strong this comp is. Warrior Red to Resto Shaman, but this comp is incredibly strong. Beast Cleave. This is actually a good one because back then there weren't any Beast Cleaves. Huh. The priest brings the dispel, but no one can dispel the priest. I would actually rate it C tier, I think, but maybe it's insanely good and I don't know. This one is the one I can't really talk about because it only became good in Wrath of the Lich King. You wouldn't see much of enhancement BM priest comps. I can see it being good against, for example, mages. But then, for example, if you face the WMD, the rest of Druid would just CC the enhancement. The Mage and the Warrior would just completely destroy the Hunter. I don't know. I think it's a C tier. I don't think it's. I don't think it's the best comp in the game. But it's certainly not the worst. You can come up with worse comps than this. I don't know. I'm gonna put it as C because I don't see it being good. I can see like a rogue completely locking down any of the DPSers or even the priest just dying to any rogue X teams. Like a Roguelok can just sap someone at the start, like the BM, the enhance, and just go on the disc priest and kill the disc priest within like what, a minute, maybe less. Okay, one of my favorites as well, the WLD. This one is hard because the warrior needs to be insanely good for this comp to be extremely good, but the comp itself, it's good even if the warrior is not that good. I would say it's better than Hunterlock Druid. Which comps are there? Okay, I would say it's better than. Okay, this is my problem. There are few comps that are on A and S tier that when they face each other, any of the comps can win. For example, a Warrior Lock Druid against a Shadow Play, any of the comps can win. Now, if the Warrior Lock Druid plays better than the Shadow Play, they should win. If the Shadow Play plays better than the Warrior Lock Druid, they should win. So this is why it's so hard, because it's you need to check it as the most viable or the best comp, but you need to think about it from a perspective that it's the best players playing it, and with the best players playing it, I would say Warrior Lock Druid is S tier, just because the warrior it's just so durable. This comp it's extremely durable, but for example, there are a few comps that are not here, like RPS, that could completely destroy this comp. RPS, so Rogue Shadow Priest Shaman, which is not here, and it's better than many of the comps here, should completely destroy Warrior Lock Druid. I would say, okay, I would say a good Warrior Lock Druid is better than Shadowplay, but it's not better than Roguelok Druid, so it's an S tier comp. Or maybe I'm just giving S tier just too much value, too less of a value. Maybe Shadowplay and WLD should be A tier. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Okay, I swapped a little bit. Just because there's two comps that are coming that are definitely S tier and okay. Yeah, this looks better. Okay, RMP. RMP is just yeah, it's just still good. This was when RMP started and it never backed down in terms of viability. Turbo Cleave. Turbo Cleave is not that good. I would say it's a B tier. It's a bit worse than WMD. Rogue Mage Shaman. Okay, dude. I would say it's better than Beastcliff because it has a Rogue and the Frost Mage, and they have Bloodlust, but other than that, yeah. Roguelok Priest. S tier. Yeah, this looks better. There's a lot of comps here, guys, by the way, that would just be a lot better. For example, I can see a good Hunterlock Druid beating any of the comps, a good Warrior Lock Druid beating any of the comps, and a good Shadowplay beating any of the comps. But yeah, this is my tier list, guys. I had to swap it mid just because I would have way too many S tier comps. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be honest. Even though I made a tier list, I don't think I think TBC it's actually the hardest to make a tier list. TBC and Rats are actually the hardest to make a tier list because there are so many comps that are actually good, and I want to talk about a few comps that are not here, like Warrior Rat Resto Druid. It's a decent comp. Like Warrior Shadow Priest Resto Druid. It's a decent comp. Like Rogue Shadow Priest Shaman, it's incredibly strong comp here, and it should be around B or A tier. What more? Double healers are not here. Double healer Hunter, so Hunter, BM Hunter, Disc Priest to Wrestler Druid are incredibly strong. The same with the Warrior instead of the Hunter, or the Warlock instead of the Hunter. So yeah, guys, this is my tier list, and let's hope we get better soon and instant 70, so we can try some better arenas and just maybe make some clips for YouTube, just to show you some gameplay. Um, I don't know what I'm gonna play yet, because I don't know what my teammates are going for, but I'm gonna be the Warlock in the team. But my favorite comp of all of this is Shadowplay and Warriorlok Druid. And Roguelok Druid, obviously. Roguelok Druid was pretty fun. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Like if you did like the video, subscribe to keep to see my notifications whenever I upload something, and yeah, have a good one. See ya.